What in the world is an 𝐿𝐷𝐻𝐵arian? I'm Anna Rumor with Pop Culture.
And I'm Nick Valdez from comicbook.com.
And this is Dragged, where we offer up our unfiltered opinion about RuPaul's Drag Race. Is it pescatarian? Well, today we're going in on episode 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 8. It's the roast of Carson Kressley. Still unsure what an equestrian is. Now the word's being removed from my mind. Nick, what did you think of this week's episode?
Equestrian, pescatarian,
Estuary? What are you talking about? Estrogen?
Oh, what an episode. The roasts are always hit or miss, right?
Yes.
You either get the ones who are really good, or you get, if we're lucky, there are some years where we get the Lolly Love iconic, well, you're the one bombing, right?
Yes, I agree. I was kind of nervous. I always get nervous for the roast because I don't like watching people do poorly unless it's like 𝐒𝐿𝐷𝐻𝐵 with her iconic monologue kind of thing. But I always get so nervous, and this week I had no reason to be nervous. They all did really well. And roasting Carson Kressley is like a dream roast. I feel like that would be the judge that I would want to roast the most if I had the opportunity.
Right, in terms of the target you have the most to work with, right? The one with the most varied career outside of RuPaul, right? It's just yes, you have a lot to work with, especially when we get stuff like, the equestrian stuff.
If we can spit that word out, then it's going to be really funny. Now, let's dive right into the workroom. Our girls were, writing their jokes, and we get a visit from none other than my actual biological mother, Katya, who slithers her way in and out to ostensibly give advice, but she doesn't do anything of the sort.
It definitely seems like she was there to be like, oh, maybe you should try this, but it's Katya, and we got good TV out of it, right?
What was she? She was just like, so what's the drama? Is anyone here into each other? Just nothing that would be helpful at all.
You're just there to stir the pot and literally slither out. I think her slithering out is probably, unfortunately, I think that's my favorite moment of the season.
That just shows that the comedy that we're working with this season. We gotta pick our moments. So I say that, but the roast, like I said, they were pretty good. Let's get into the roast. Alexis goes first, and maybe I take back what I just said. She was fine, right?
That's the thing. She's fine, and as good or bad as her jokes were, I don't really think they were terrible either. It's just that when you go first, it's sort of I kind of forgot what she was going for. Especially because her jokes didn't really have the sting. It was very polite. But not we'll talk about the next one who was polite, but yet had that sting to it. It's just when we get the other three, it's oh, Alexis was also there.
She's doing a great job, but she just feels very formal. And I think that's Alexis's downfall in a lot of these things. She doesn't have that kind of natural charisma shining through. So it does feel like she has planned a lot of the things that she's doing, which again, very professional, but it's certainly no Jessica Wilde. I don't even know if she was really telling any jokes, but she was so funny.
This is the guacamole is expensive issue again, right? Where it's we talked about this with that challenge where, she was just telling a random story, she likes the carne asada with the soft shell. And here the roast was just oh yeah, you have uniqueness, nerve, and you don't really have talent. And it's not really a joke, it's just a statement she made, but because she's Jessica Wilde, I was having such a great time, and that counts for a lot.
It does. I mean, that is half the battle, is making people want to laugh with you, and she is so delightful that the moment she says anything that's even vaguely funny, I'm, there. I'm cracking up, I'm slapping my knee, I'm ready to have a good time with her.
If she's having a good time, we all have a good time. She has that personality, and it really came through. Contrast that with Candy Muse, who had these strong jokes, but also maybe had too much of the bite. But at the same time, I want to give her a lot of credit for getting the groan, for getting the, ooh, you went too far with that one.
With the equestrian joke, as mentioned, I thought she is like the perfect queen to do a roast because she has that bite. She has that kind of like cadence that makes it feel not as harsh. And then she also has the ability to like, when the crowd is not laughing, be like, it's a roast, and like kind of get people back on her side. So I thought she did really well, but the jokes, they just like weren't my favorite jokes, you know?
That's the only issue. It's, you know, especially when she has one of the most iconic roast jokes, I think, in Drag Race history, that she died. Like, the she died is something I remember, like, still. Like, when it was announced this was the roast, I was so looking forward to that candy. And while she commands the stage, it was just missing that little zazz.
And then also, I mean, I know this is not like her fault, but Michelle and her talked about it during rehearsal. She needs to slow down a little bit when she's doing these things because she's already got like her Cookie Monster voice. And if she starts going too fast, it takes like a second to process it, and then you've lost it, and we've moved on to something else. And I definitely noticed that with some of the jokes where I was like, wait, what? Oh, and I have to pay attention to this new one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's, you know, I love Candy, but maybe she got in her head about that, and I can understand that. She's probably telling herself, slow down, slow down, slow down. And I don't know, and that's kind of like, that's like telling a bull not to charge. You know? And then you have Jimbo, who does the Joan Rivers thing. And so I'm of two minds, Anna. I'm a traditionalist with this stuff.
Get out there and roast like the forefathers,
Yes, like, be yourself. Yes, she did the character, she did Joan Rivers, she kills it. Great jokes. I was dying at the Ellen stuff like that.
So funny.
But that's the thing, like, it's a character, and it's not Jimbo. So I was torn.
I think this episode really showcased, and I'm not saying this is negative or positive, I'm kind of in the middle about it. Jimbo does best when Jimbo is able to be a character. And I think that maybe evolving who Jimbo is at the core of it would be another step for her further down the line. But the characters that Jimbo does are so freaking good that it's like, it's hard to impress the need to do that when you're winning so handily with the best Joan Rivers impersonation we've ever seen.
My thing is, it's like, you're the drag clown, it's great, but it doesn't, in a way, it doesn't also like, it kind of feels like hiding, you know? Like, it feels like Jimbo's hiding behind these things rather than going full force like the others.
I'm surprised Ru has not had a heart-to-heart in the workroom about the inner saboteur. Probably because Jimbo's doing so well, nothing's being saboteured. It is interesting, though. It's just an observation. I love every single character that Jimbo does, so I really can't say anything about it. But it's just an observation, and we'll get into that with the lip sync as well. But I thought, the choice to bring out Joan was interesting, and it was kind of like controversial, I guess. I love them editing this like she wasn't about to kill it. So stupid. Well, of course she's gonna nail it.
I feel dumb each time that the editing gets me when it does that stuff. Like last week when it was like, oh, I don't know if I'll finish it in time. I was like, oh, is she gonna finish it in time?
Listen, they're professional editors. They should be able to trick us. I just have like undying faith in Jimbo all the time.
Yeah, and we can see why, because she does so well in this roast. But before we move on to the runway, I do want to give a shout out to Jackie Wood.
Jackie Wood.
Shout outs to Secret Celebrity Drag Race, the show that brought us together here.
Yes.
And it was so fun. I like literally, I was so excited. That made me the most happy thing this entire roast. I was like, yes, Jackie Wood.
The funniest thing is Jackie Wood came out and I was like, oh my God, Jackie Wood. And then I was like, oh wait, Jackie Wood's Tom Felicia. It makes sense why she's here. I had separated her from the queer eye of it all, and I kind of forgot for a second. But Jackie did a great job too. I don't know if Jackie wrote her own jokes, but they were funny.
Jackie Wood, and she did, right?
And she did, yes. We stand always. Now, this runway really had nothing to do with anything. I loved it, though. Snow Bunny realness. Tell me what you thought about Alexis coming out in this, like, Elf on the Shelf realness.
She was looking like a Pixar villain, you know?
Yeah.
Like you'd see her in, like, The Incredibles 3 or something. I love the hairdo, the hair that she constantly had to pull to the side in order to talk to somebody. The only thing that threw me off was the hat. See, I didn't register it as a hat.
I didn't either. And I went back and forth being like, I really like this, but I need the hat to be either like higher up on her head or maybe like more stuffed, more firm, so I can tell it's a hat, because otherwise it was just like a weird droopy mid-neck tail. I don't know. It didn't succeed as much as I wanted it to.
If it were like a shorter tail on the hat, maybe, or maybe her hair was too big and that kind of distracted from the hat motion thing going on, whatever that was. But
I love the hair, so it's tough.
That's the other thing. Like, I love the silhouette overall. I really like the look. It's just the hat didn't register as a hat.
Yeah, no, I had the same problem with it. But I mean, her face is always so beautiful. But the hat, it's the hat. Yeah. Next up, we had Jessica Wilde coming out looking like a real, like, snow slopes. You can tell I don't snowboard. She's a mountain supermodel. That's what she is.
I was like, this is a cover girl. This looks like something that they would sell because it's so good looking. Like, I loved it. I love the coat too, with the the little appliques and stuff like that. I was in. What a fun look.
If I ever make it up on those slopes, I'm wearing something like that. Now, I do have one question for you. What did you think about her blue lip? Because I hated it.
What? I loved it.
I didn't like it. I don't know why. I just looked at it and was like, all of this is so beautiful. And then the blue lip, I was like, whoa, no.
I don't know. To me, it just kind of worked with like the goggles and the rest of the outfit. It's just like, oh, she's a little cold, you know?
Blair St. Clair. I mean, she's so beautiful. It looked, great all together. But if I had to change one thing, if we're being nitpicky, and we are at this point in the competition, I would change the lip color. Luckily, I've got a lot more to say negatively about Kandi's look, which I both loved and hated. I have mixed feelings about this like crystal bikini moon boot moment. I loved a lot of it, like the moon boot, the goggles in the hair as like a bow. Iconic. She looked beautiful. Her face always looked beautiful. And then the panty and the corset did not fit like at all.
She front-loaded her outfit again. We've talked about this, where she looks so good coming out. Where you're like, wow, that's a really great Kandi look. And then she turns and you're like, oh, that's where the details are.
Someone needs to get her like a full-length mirror, because that's where I feel like these issues are coming up. Maybe she can't see the back, but like she turns around and it's like, oh, yikes.
That's the kind of issue with Kandi too. A lot of her fits are a little awkward. And, at this stage, we do have to look at that stuff. Just as you mentioned with the lipstick, and just as we mentioned with the hat, she looked fun and flirty, but it looked like a lot of pieces, right? Rather than just like a cohesive look. But I love the goggles. I'm a big sucker for the goggles and hair. That was just a fun little, cute little thing.
Speaking of details though, Jimbo walks out in this like feather number. I don't think I've ever seen feathers applied like this all over a garment. Beautiful.
With this iridescent stuff, like, come on, Jimbo. You just look great in iridescent colors.
It makes me want to wear more of them. It's like, where are you getting this? This is not made in nature, And then the feathers, she looked like a very glamorous chicken in the best way.
Yes, I love the hair that if it was wet and she kind of styled it and it got frozen outside, I love that idea. It's just a fun look, and I had no issues with it whatsoever.
Truly no detail that I had that I didn't like. And so it makes sense that with the roast and with that outfit, she is our winner for the week. And with this stage in the competition, if you're not in the top, you're in the bottom. So we've got Jessica, technically, she got pretty good reviews. Kandi and Alexis in the bottom. Luckily, it's Jimbo lip syncing, so she can't possibly, no, she comes out in her little baloney ghost costume to lip sync against 𝐒𝐿𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐿, the Reverend Dr. Corporal 𝐒𝐿𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐿 to Freakazoid, and I thought she killed it. Shockingly. I was not expecting this.
So this was my first real introduction to this look. And so
okay. So this was not a fun throwback for you. This was like a what the hell is going on?
Yes, I've seen it in, the previews and, when they talked about Jimbo in the past, but this was my first introduction to this character. So it was just a lot for me to take in immediately.
Okay, that makes sense, because really, I can't even explain it to you. There's really no explanation. You hungry, mama?
Yeah, like the voice, the smiling, the little claws, the stomach, and then 𝐒𝐒𝐒 coming at me, the lip sync assassin. The noise I made when it was revealed to be 𝐒𝐿𝐒𝐒, because 𝐒𝐿𝐒𝐒, yeah, we've had some lip syncers in the past where we're like, oh, okay, but she's a true assassin. Like, please go watch the Barbie girl lip sync. Like, come on. And
it's true, but she seemed like she was so thrown off by this. She really was not like doing much of anything that we even got to see, because there's this like baloney ghost like wiggling around on stage, just kind of like doing an imitation of her in a funny way. I think she was very thrown off by that.
The song 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿, it really seemed catered to Jimbo. That's
totally.
That's my little tinfoil hat kind of thing going on, where it's like, oh, okay, they really wanted Jimbo to have a win-win here.
Yeah.
But 𝐒𝐿𝐒 really tried. But at the end of the day, I do get why she's like, I can't believe I lost to Jimbo.
I know, and you know what? Even if it was catered to Jimbo, watching that little ghost wiggle around on stage and throw baloney at everyone, I will stand that until the end of time. So I don't care if it's rigged. I love it. I was cracking up. It was so funny. I'm obsessed with Jimbo.
Yes, it's so hard to look good when there's like a gremlin like 2 feet away from you, just doing gremlin things and making RuPaul die. Like, RuPaul is dying, and as we've learned, if RuPaul's having a great time, you're the winner. But ultimately, Jimbo did win, yes, and
shocking.
Jimbo picked Alexis to go home. Wow.
Karma is a little baloney ghost, isn't it?
Wow, full circle.
Truly full circle. I am sad to see Alexis go home. I don't know. Well, I don't know. But also, it was her time, right? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the other thing. The other 3 are just so strong at this point, even with, little off details here and there, maybe from Candy or maybe from Jessica or from Jimbo. It's just... it's getting too fierce, and I'm so surprised that we're not stopping at the top 3 either. I think that's what's throwing me off the most. I'm like, oh, this is still going. Like, oh, there's another challenge. This is not the finale yet.
No, we've got a couple more. Next week we're having the makeover challenge. We're bringing in some lesbians to make over. Excited. I love the makeover challenge.
Yes.
But then after that, we have like the Fame Games winner, and then we have the full winner, the actual winner. So we're gonna be going through like July.
This is wild. I'm so excited. Yes, Alexis, I'm gonna miss you. You're great TV. But we have some really strong, like a really strong top 3. So I can't wait to see, and I can't wait to see what a top 2 looks like. Like, what is a top 2 episode of RuPaul actually like? What does that look like?
I'm curious what we're gonna do there. I'm curious if we're doing a lip sync. I think we are. It's just gonna be an interesting end of the season. I'm curious to see how it shakes out. Who's your winner?
Yeah. Ooh, at this point, I know Jimbo is really in the lead, but I kind of really want to throw it all behind Jessica Wilde. I'm going Jessica Wilde.
I am obsessed with Jessica. If she wins, I will be very thrilled. But I mean, you just heard me talk about Jimbo for like 20 minutes. So I gotta say, Jimbo forever. But either way, I will be very excited. If Candy wins, I will be shocked and I will be a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, but at the same time, if you don't have that star quality, and Candy's got that star quality.
That's true. That's true. I think she makes a lovely second alternate. Well, we're going to see how this all shakes out together. We're watching every week and recapping here on Dragged. So join us next week and we'll be talking about the makeover challenge. I can't wait.